Hi everyone, it's Kim from Kim Taylor Ultimate Speaker, the founder of the 9 Steps to Ultimate Speaker Training System. And it's an absolute delight to be here today. It's Easter Monday, and as promised, I'm bringing you the next video to share with you some speaking tips and strategies to propel your communication and public speaking skills just that bit further. So let's have some fun. And I've been looking forward to doing this, and it's like I had a little bit of a challenge with Facebook Live, so I'm recording it here and uploading it. So the intention is to get that Facebook Live sorted for next time. And I just wanted, it reminded me when I was working with a client just before Easter, and I thought, gee, there's some good strategies here that I'd love to share with you that I shared with her. And so a couple of things that we're going to cover today is around who you need to be. Who do you need to show up as in order to get your message out there through your public speaking, through your communication. So that'll be one thing. The other part we're going to be covering is how do you get that engagement, that instant rapport with your audience? Because, you know, you've only got like a really short amount of time when you start to speak with someone or when you start to present to a group. So how do you get that message across really fast? And we've just got 10 minutes or so that we're going to do this. And as you know, I'm going to be doing a weekly Facebook live for you, so we'll be able to cover a lot more, but this will give you a couple of things to really give you some tools and tips to get going on. So the first part is, okay, this is something that I heard about back in the Coaching Institute. I learned it off Joe Pane, and he talked about the 4 levels of thinking. And the 4 levels of thinking, there's level 1, it feels familiar, feels pretty good, and things go along smooth, and it's all good. It's all great. Level 2 thinking is something doesn't feel that great, but we know that it's good for us. You know, for example, we know we've got to get out there and do those videos or promote our business or present, you know, do speaking gigs and promote what we do so that others will, you know who we are. We can promote our businesses, whatever it is for you. Maybe it's just learning a new skill, taking up golf, swimming with whales, whatever it is, can feel a little bit scary, but it also, we know it's good for us because we build our confidence, we build our skill, and everything goes well. Let's come back to level 2 in just a moment, because that's a key one. And something that I use through all aspects of my life now. Never used to, but I've learned that it's such a key one in order to really take things to another level, if that's what you want to do. So the third one is your 3rd level of thinking, number 3. Now number 3 is it doesn't feel that great. Or sorry, actually it does feel great, but it's not good for us. So it's things like, you know, it's Easter. We've decided that, wow, that chocolate tastes really yum, but we've just eaten a bit too much. So it feels good, but it's not actually too great for us because we've got that, the expansion of the pants. Or it might be that we haven't been sort of we haven't been promoting our businesses, or we haven't been getting out there, doing the things that we need to do. So, we know that that's not too good. Now, level 4 thinking is it doesn't feel good and it's not good for us. So that's when we've reached a stage where, it might feel like we're stuck in a bit of a rut. And they talk about a rut being a grave with the ends kicked out. And there's some truth to that, because we feel like, where's the way forward? How do we move forward? How do I get myself out of this? And that's a very real thing, because we reach plateaus in our businesses, and there's things that we need to do in order to move forward. So level 4 thinking, we actually want to try and prevent going there. And this is why I come back to level 2. And this is the one that I mentioned that I embrace in every part of my life now. And I don't always get it right, believe me. There's days when I just want to just kind of like curl up and just not do anything. But, I choose to do that as opposed to just letting it happen. Level 2 thinking is, okay, this doesn't feel so great, but I know it's going to move me forward. I know it's going to help. And this is what I'm going to encourage you to do with your businesses. I'm going to encourage you to do this with, if there's any fears around public speaking and getting out there and promoting, is to embrace that level 2 thinking. okay? And look, happy to help you with this. This is why, I'll mention at the end that, private message me, let's have a chat. I'm happy to help you with this, to give you some tips. So level 2 is, the more you do that, the more it feels good, the more it turns into level 1 thinking. And when I got this, it was like, wow. As I say, I don't always get it right, but it's like when I got it, it was like, wow, it just helps keep me on track for where I'm going. So that's just on that personal level. So now the second part I want to give you is a strategy around how do you get that greater engagement. So let me ask you a question. Do you think we have more or less engagement when we can build that rapport with someone, we can build that know, like, trust? When we feel like we know someone, do we want to be around them more or less? Yeah, more, right? And this is what we're doing with rapport, with that creating that greater engagement. So one of the key strategies, and as I say, it's just scratching the surface, but I wanted to give you a very, very important tip, and for you to go away and practice. You want to create that rapport right from the get-go. You want a rapport, you want to create that connection with your audience. Now your audience can be, whether you're networking, doing an elevator, doing it to a Facebook Live, doing a presentation to a live audience, doing your own trainings and workshops, whatever it is, it's really important to create the engagement right from the get-go. And so how do you do that? Well, one way is a very, very easy way to do it. You ask questions. Now I want to qualify that, because before you just go out and just ask questions, there's some key things that you need to do. So let's give you some context. The first thing is you've got to know who it is you're targeting. Because as you can imagine, depending on the audience, oh, there goes a big noisy motor. Depending on your audience, they'll have different pain points, they'll have different challenges. And because we're neurologically in our brains wired to the negative, one of the key ways, or one of the ways to reach your audience, is to reach them where they're feeling pain, where they're feeling challenged. So let me explain. So for example, I know that for the clients that I work with, who range from 40 to 60 years old, that is the main people I work with, that age group. They're a lot of professional people, a lot of professional women. They're in their own businesses or working in organizations. Some of the key things that come through, they're hugely accomplished in what they do. They really know what they're talking about. However, they're not sure how to get out there and present their businesses. They're not sure how to overcome the tremendous fears that come up when they go out to do a video, or to go on social media, or to run their workshops. They might experience the discomfort, such as the churning stomach, the pounding heart, the dry mouth, fear of forgetting the words, fear of what others are thinking. And it's all in our heads, I know that. And it feels very real. They're very real fears. They're very real fears, and they show up. So if I was to want to reach them, because this is what I help clients with, to help them overcome those, it's an aspect of what I do. I'll ask questions like, have you ever experienced those real fears around, I'm going to forget my words? Or have you ever had those feelings of discomfort, such as the pounding heart, the churning stomach, when you know it's your turn to get up and speak and do an elevator? Who's ever experienced that? And if you can relate to those things on some level, then you're going to be listening, because I've just interrupted your thoughts. Once you've interrupted the thoughts, it's then like, okay, so you're listening. And look, just to share with you, because I love what Craig Valentine says. He says you tap into your audience's world with a question. And then the cool thing happens, the magic happens, because as they're listening to the story that you share, the how-to, the example, or, whatever it is that you're sharing next, because it's linked to that question, the people that are listening, they're really engaged with what you're saying, because it relates to them. So you tap into their world with a story, you bring them into your world with a how-to, a story, an example, and because it relates to them, they're engaged, they're listening, they want to know more because it relates. They're still thinking about their own lives. And that is a magical strategy, which is really involving and connecting with your audience in such a way that you build that rapport, you build that know, like, trust, because essentially you're saying to them, hey, I get you. I get where you're coming from. I've been there. I've had the challenges like that. So, I can help you with this. Let's move forward. And so once you've done that, once you've tapped in with that question and they're going like, yeah, okay, you do. I think, yeah, I'm listening. What's next? Then you link it to whatever it is that you're sharing. Link it to something valuable, because it's really important to share, people, how you can help people. So it's like, think about what's the story that connects that. What's the piece of the content piece that will connect that question to what it is that you do. So you interrupt them and then you link it to something that's relevant to what you're going to be sharing, to what you're going to be teaching. So that gives you a tip. As I say, it's just scratching the surface, but I just wanted you to have a strategy on how you can do this, how you can create that engagement right from the get-go. And look, I'm very, very happy if you have any challenges around, the fears of public speaking, or, they say 3 in 4 people actually have a fear of public speaking. It's like, man, and I actually think it's a bit higher than that, just the number that, through speaking with others. So look, if you're having any challenges with this, or you'd like to know more about how, the things that we've just talked about, because it's just a short video, then look, private message me. I'm also going to send in a link so that you can schedule an appointment if you'd like to do that, either way. And look, I'd be very, very happy just to give you some tips on where you are now and how you can, just give you some tips on how you can move forward with that. And look, the best thing is, look, we're going to be doing the weekly videos, of course. And the cool thing is that, it's whatever you do, just show up, be real, be yourself. And most importantly, remember to speak from your heart and share your message. Look forward to connecting with you next week. Bye now.